Hey guys, welcome back to Dave Does It. I'm Dave, and sometimes I do things. And today, well, today's not one of those days. We're not doing much of anything. But I wanted to give you guys a quick update and recap of where we're at now and why I've been silent, right? There's been no uploads for you guys, and there's a reason for that. So a lot of this is all stemmed with trying to sort all my junk around, right? We had to find a place to take the race truck. I had some things to clean out for winter to get ready for this. But as you can see, we did get the camper home. I did tease about this a little bit. I just didn't think that you guys really wanted to see a video of me moving all my crap around, right? So I do have a storage unit I rent. It's about 40 minutes from my house, and it's rat packed right now. All the stump grinder stuff's in there, the race truck's in there, the dually's in there, and it's pretty tight. But that was all in preparation to kind of unclutter myself, even though it looks like a train wreck still. I've been working on that to start tackling the camper. And I've been doing a lot of reading and research for this Alaskan Camper build about trying to update seals for these Pirelli seals, these tube seals here. After talking with Brian Wheat at Alaskan Campers, they don't make anymore. And then we got all of the stick-on foam, right? So those tube seals, from what he's been telling me, is stick-on foam now. So I've just been reviewing products. I've talked to some people that have used garage door seal instead of the Pirelli seal just because it lasts longer, right? Typically, the Pirelli seal needs changed every 3 to 5 years. And I'm pretty sure that these ones have never been changed and they're still original. I did find a fiberglass reinforced EPDM rubber that's ozone and UV resistant, and it ends up being about the same cost as the Pirelli seal. It's 16-inch thick, so that could work really well. But it's hard because the garage door seals work very well. I just don't know if they're stiff enough. The cost would be significantly cheaper to do that, but worst case scenario, even if I buy the good rubber, it's still $200, and then I'll have excess left over for all the goofy cuts. So I did start poking around with the camper a little bit, and it's stuff that I figured that you guys would not want to see, especially people that end up stumbling across these videos in this Alaskan series, looking for input in their own Alaskan. So it's like common sense things, right? So like you can see here, I removed the refrigerator. So we pulled the 3-way fridge out. I pulled the furnace out, and that's because we're upgrading these units. So we're going to go with the Dometic 12-volt compressor refrigerator now. Specifically, I think it's the NRX 115. It's roughly the same size as this Norcold fridge. And I pulled the propane furnace out, and we're going to replace it with a cheap diesel heater. One main reason for that is on these excursions we're going on, I don't want to run out of propane and not have my cooktop. So the only propane usage in the camper now will be the cooktop and the Insta-Hot hot water heater, which will probably very rarely be used. I did start ordering some parts, right? Like as I told you, I'm researching seals. I haven't got any of that stuff yet. We did get the diesel heater in, but I got a lot of cool stuff to set this up, taking advantage of some Black Friday deals. And if we come over here in my mess, you can see we have the Victron charger and inverter, 12-volt, 200-watt, 80-amp charger. I got a Epic, which I always thought it was Epoch, just because of the spelling, but I guess it's Epic. We got their Eco Series battery, so this is their entry-level battery. Has extremely good tests, a well-known BMS in it, and it's 314 amp hours. So I have one battery to take place of 3. And if we get to, I guess, the Walmart brand of solar panels, right? I got a Black Friday deal on some Renogy panels. So there's only one panel here. I did end up buying a 5-pack. It's their Shadow Flux series, I believe it's called. So they try to push the shadow technology and, being able to take full advantage of that panel. Well, all it is it's a painted black N-type panel. So it has the tighter grid. and the bypassing diode. So if the panel's partially shadowed, it doesn't pull the output way down. But I got a killer deal on those. Those ended up being like 80 bucks a piece. That Epic battery was 25% off, which is huge. And I chose that Victron Multi-Plus Compact inverter, one, because it's a discontinued model. So they still support it, but since it's been replaced by the Multi-Plus 2, they're extremely discounted. So I paid $700 for that inverter, which is insane. But I had to take into consideration sizing, and I'll show you here when we go inside the camper why. So I have a side dinette, and with that we have a little bit of storage under the side dinette with the kick-out wing. So the goal is now to take advantage of the storage pocket in here to mount the inverter, the solar charge controller. We'll have a Lynx distributor in here, things that I haven't gotten. But that 314 amp hour battery fits in there also. And then I have room to expand if I'd want to put in another 314 amp hour battery. I don't think we'll need that much solar. The panels we got 520 watts, so we have 600 watts of solar on the roof. I really wanted to go with the 200 watt panels. After watching some videos and kind of trying to understand how they work, I didn't want to mix and match sizing. The physical dimensions of the 200 watt panel wouldn't fit between the edge line of the roof on this Alaskan and where the air conditioner starts, but the 120 watt panel does. So I'll probably line 2 panels on each side of that and then have one up front. End up most likely going to be using like a unistrut between the roof rack, you know, the 2 roof rack halves, and then we'll mount the panels down the side. But that's really it. You know, I didn't get too much into this. I recycled the sheet of plywood. This was off of that little stand that we made to put on the trailer when we went and picked the camper up. And then, you know, I had to go get another sheet of plywood to make that cart. So this actually works out for when we go in here and start reinforcing the corners. I'll start making like the DIY videos with you guys for that. I just kind of wanted to give you an update on where we are. Camper's home. We're getting ready to jump in full-fledged winter and do something here, get it all resealed up. And I'm gonna have to rewire it. You know, I did mention in an earlier video, if you've seen these Alaskan videos kind of poking around a little bit, you know, when I first got it, that some of the wiring has been eaten up by rodents. And while I've been just splicing it back together and taking care of that in order to set it up right, with setting it up fully on 12 volt now, it's easier just to rewire the camper instead of trying to recycle what I have. So that's not going to be that big of a deal. I'll most likely leave all the light wiring for the external lights, but everything inside is going to be all new on the switch panel, ready to go. And we'll start pulling the drawers and stuff out. So next time that you see this camper or a video with me in this camper, we're going to pull the side dinette seat out. And then I guess we'll start with mounting some of the electronics and reinforcing the corners. Hopefully that'll help some of you guys that stumble across these, like I was saying, other Alaskan owners. You know, a lot of people have done these repairs. It's pretty common knowledge. You know, I think if you own one of these campers, you have to be pretty handy anyways. But like me researching, trying to get ideas and see how other people handle these situations, there's not a lot of documentation or notes along the process. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to answer some of these questions. I was also considering getting rid of the gray water tank with talking with Brian Wheat at Alaskan. He actually remembers this camper when it was ordered in 2002. He told me they only made 2 of these that were optioned like this with the gray water tank. And, well, it's kind of neat. It is rather large, and I don't think we need it. So I'm struggling with myself about getting rid of these wing corners like the flatbed models had or the utility truck models had. So I was going to leave the wheel well bump out on the side here and then just continue that straight back, right? That way we'll still be able to utilize the tail light on the pickup truck. And if I got rid of the gray water tank, we'd be able to have the tailgate still support the back of the camper. The way it is right now with a little bit of flex, the gray water tank is currently structural from, you know, how they start to get weak in the rear and get a little banana-y or, you know, smile. Well, I guess they'd frown, right? They get a little frowny. And I think with driving on some of these remote roads, it would be a better idea if I got rid of that so I could put the tailgate back on the truck and kind of support it evenly. That is one worry I have. The other thing that sucks is I've been trying to look into different AC options. Our current electrical setup will not support this AC unit. This AC unit is way too large for this little camper. And after some research, it is like the smallest unit that's available unless you go 12 volt. If I go 12 volt, I can't hide the wiring. But I will definitely need another battery then. So part of what I was thinking was to set it up as a as needed basis, and then just keeping a wire stub loose and plug it in. And I could show you on I have some wire here with the connector I'd be talking about. So I could stub one of these quick connect, like forklift connectors or battery disconnects, mount it to the ceiling out the AC unit, and then just have this wire round up and tucked in that cubby where the rest of the electronics will be, and pull it out and plug it in as needed when we have to use it. Then I'd be able to go to a smaller 12 volt unit, which would be beneficial because I'd gain headroom on height. I just don't like all the exposed wiring, and I'm going to have exposed wiring, and there's not a good way for me to run, 2-gauge cable up there. I think that's what I could be wrong. Maybe it's 2-aught cable it needs. I'd have to look into that. I'm still learning this. I'm not very familiar with that. But if it was just a DIY plug-in as needed, I wouldn't feel so bad about being able to show some exposed wires. We do have a TV antenna on top. It's the crank up one. I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to end up using the hole that's already in the roof there for the, the access port where the wiring's going to come in for the solar. I might also put some floodlights around the perimeter on the roof and bring the wires in that same hole so we could have that on a switch panel or something around camp. But as you can see, the crank handle's up there, so that's where my wire is going to be coming in. So I have to figure out something with that. I guess I just run a little bit of exposed conduit, try to keep it away from interfering with the door, then maybe tuck it back in that cubby. And then how you have your loose wire loop up here in the front, I'd probably end up having another one in this corner over here that tucks in behind the cabinet, and then down in the crease of the sofa where it goes into the box. I don't know if that's a great idea. I mean, I could drop it back into the cabinet and then use the cabinet as a pass-through. But with these Alaskans, storage is pretty limited. So I want to keep as much of it as I can. It's like a learning curve. I was trying to see if there are updated windows, to see if I get a dual pane window or something that had a built-in shade. And I guess this is a unique window size. I haven't seen any windows that are currently this size. So, I was only doing that because I have to pull them to fix the little bit of rot that's below them, and all the windows need resealed. But yeah, it's exciting, just trying to figure out what's going on here and making a to-do list. So I didn't order the refrigerator yet. That's going to be a big expense. I thought spending the money, taking advantage of some of that Black Friday deal stuff for the electrical system was the smarter move, and it allows us to keep moving forward before we get into the big project phase. But yeah, I'm extremely happy, and I'm still excited. I hope you fellow Alaskan owners that end up seeing this continue to come back to the series, and we'll kind of learn this together. and you know, get some real world feedback. And I don't know, I'm excited to start using it. You know, there's another big surprise coming in. I've briefly been shopping for a specific truck for this. I've been a long-term Ford guy. I was a diehard Chevy guy when I, you know, first got my license and started doing truck things. And I had a new body style 07 Sierra. It was only a 1500, which is probably why I wasn't very happy with it. But I wasn't very happy with the performance. That was my first 5.3 truck. You know, I always had the old slow 90s 350 trucks that just kind of did whatever. And then I became a Ford diesel guy, and I've had nothing but Fords since then. But we're changing that all up, and I am currently looking for a Duramax truck. I might have found a deal on one. So the video that comes out after this one is going to be about that. And then we'll start getting onto this Alaskan stuff. But I'm going to finish, you know, gotta create some storage space to store these drawers, these panels. I'm going to pull the rest of the drawers out so we can kind of go through it. I might update the sink. I seen a really nice van life sink that I like, that has an integrated faucet, and the drain setup's a little different, so it would allow me to get rid of the gray tank or keep it and just change the discharge. I still don't know how I want to do with that. I don't know. I gotta talk to some more people and see how their 10-footers are. I do like the idea of it being there, because I don't have to worry about an external bucket or a bladder when getting rid of my gray water. So all in all, I'm still excited. I did poke around a little bit, and there is some water damage up here in the cab over, and I'm sure it's from this fan leaking. It you know, it's all gray around it. There's some delamination on the, I don't know what kind of panel this is. It's like a piece of wainscot or something. But yeah, it's not too bad. There is also a local RV store that's going out of business to me. I want to go check out. They don't have a big part showroom, but they have some stuff we could use, and it's all 60% off. So I want to go buy a new propane monitor CO2 detector to update the one from the, I guess, early 2000s or late 90s that's in here, with this being an O2. And yeah, we'll just take it one step at a time, but it's exciting. We're putting a game plan together. I got my list. The more and more I look at it, the more and more I find, right? But that's part of making it your own. I am really curious, too, to get an actual measurement when everything's collapsed to see if I could do any other kind of little additional storage on top of this cabinet here. I know the new ones, the overhead bins come back farther. So I'm assuming since there's a 12-volt jack there and an antenna plug, that maybe this is where the television lived at one point in time with the, you know, big CRT box deal. And I didn't really pay attention to that when the top was down before, but that's the least of my priorities. You know, I still got to figure out how to get these cylinders out, to reseal them. I thought about maybe doing them one at a time and like 3-pointing it on the pins, and then opening the drain valve so I could collapse one cylinder fully, pull that out, rebuild it, put it in, pump it back up, and then, you know, just do one at a time like that. But it's just figuring it out, you know. But I guess I could show you too, part of the rewiring process is, I don't know if you can see this in here, but all the wiring in the camper is like this, where the rodents got to it. So instead of fixing it, it's just all coming out, and it'll be a lot easier since we're going to be full 12-volt. I just don't know how I got to integrate some of the stuff up top, because I did want to put modern puck lights in it. I feel that there's like way too many lights in this thing, but I'm not going to be able to run wiring. So I don't know how the circuits broke up. Talking to Brian Wheat, he said depending who wired my camper, they either wired it front and rear or left and right. So I could probably put 12 volts to it now safely, just to try and figure that out, but I haven't figured any of that out yet. So I'm excited and just making some headway. So I just wanted to, like I said, just wanted to give you guys an update. I know this isn't educational video or interesting video where I've been, but it's kind of just like what I've been doing in the background. I've been stuck in a little funk myself too, so I haven't very much been motivated to try to create some content for you guys, which is my fault, you know, because early on I was using the content creation for you guys to motivate myself, and it's like the opposite now. But we're going to keep going, keep doing research. I got some more parts that we're waiting to come in to make this thing awesome and set up off-grid. And we'll have some update videos coming. And then, like I said, the next video that you guys will see will hopefully be about this truck that I'm going to look at. I've been on a nationwide truck hunt, and I don't know if I'm making a good decision or a bad decision, but we'll see. You know, it's like a coin flip, but that's for another time. So thank you for coming in today. This is where I've been. This is why I haven't, I guess, been lacking on my uploads, and hopefully we'll get some Alaskan content here flowing very shortly to help get this winter passed until we can get back outside and some of the other stuff. So thank you for joining in. I appreciate you guys. And remember, kindness is free. It doesn't cost you anything to be a decent person, and try to inspire someone.